Are we live?
We're live.
Hey everybody, welcome to Marvelous Monday. We will gather everybody up and get started in just a minute. As soon as Doug hands me the phone that he's setting up, and then I'll be able to watch how many people are here. I hope y'all are having a marvelous Monday. I sure am. It's a good day. It was a rainy day. It was an interesting day and a busy day. But I am super glad you're here. Oh, good. It's not just me and Doug. Thank you for being here. So, I'll put the phone down. Do I kind of blend with the background?
A little bit.
A little bit? I didn't plan that, y'all. I promise. So, thank you for being here. Hey, Betty. Hey, Janice. So glad you're here. So, if you are just, hey, Pat, I'm so glad you're here. So, as y'all come in, make a little comment so I'll know and I'll be able to say hi to you individually. So, I hope you're having a marvelous Monday. I have had a marvelous Monday. I did a lot of prep work for tonight, getting things caught up so I could talk to y'all. Hey, Ann, we're so happy you're here. So, tonight what we're going to do is we're going to talk all about the orange peel picture windows reverse applique tool. So this is the new tool. You've seen the Dresdens. You know the Dresdens. If you want a Dresden, you can picture window tool. You can
tilt it forward just a little bit.
Is that it?
It's just
here. It's, oh my goodness, girlfriend. You stay safe and warm. Hey, Catherine. Happy to see you. So, tonight we're going to talk all about the orange peel picture window reverse applique tool. The Dresden picture window tool that is available on the website or through your local quilt shop is still out there. But tonight, officially, this has been shipped and it's all packaged and ready to go. So, I'm going to show like front to back. So, here's what the cover looks like. I thought my graphic artist was good in putting the orange banner down there because it's orange peel. I thought that was a clever little thing that she did. I was happy about that. The other thing I wanted to point out to you, this is covered under my patent, and the patent number is on there. It's the first time I've ever had a product with the patent number on it. So now that I'm official with the patents, I'm very excited about there. Hey, Noelle. Hey, Pam. I'm happy y'all are here. So anyway, this is what we're going to talk about tonight. So this is the cover. Now what I've done is I've put a real simplified version of the instructions on the back. In the Dresden plate tool, I have step-by-step instructions. And across all the feedback I've gotten is people don't read. And I'm like, people don't read? And all my feedback was, no, people don't bother reading. So I said, okay, then we'll just do pictures. So I showed the tool and some instructions, and then I've got the YouTube videos, Facebook videos, and I'm in the process of uploading those to the YouTube channel. Let me show you what the tool looks like. The tool is a 10-inch square. Now my paper is 8.5 by, well, maybe I can do 2 sheets. 8.5 by 11, so you know how that works. It's not quite big enough. So here's the tool. The orange peel is a very old block, and it's this shape. Y'all have seen this before, a million times before, but you've never seen it in reverse applique. That's just not the way. Is that better? Am I helping you or hurting you, honey? Okay, so it's this shape. It's the football shape. This is what the orange peel is, but you've never seen it in reverse applique. I have scoured for 4 years and have never found the reverse applique tool. Now, when you get it, not only do you get this piece, but of course you get the insert, right? You get this insert, and it's a window, so that's the window within a window, so you get both of these. Now, one of the things that I've done this time is I have, and you can't tell it on camera, except maybe right there. There's a little piece of fuzz right there. On the back of the tool is a film that is all over the whole tool, and it's not gummy, but it's tacky. It's dry, but when you lay it down, your tool doesn't slide all over your fabric, so it's really, really easy to place and stay in place. So that is an upgrade too. So it does come with the window within a window. It's a registration lines so that when you're drawing and measuring. So I'm going to show you some of the things that you can do with it, and then I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, first of all, I've lost my agenda because I used it for the back. So let me make sure which one I'm going to do first. Oh, yeah. Okay, so y'all know I'm into, I wonder if Nita's here. Nita, are you here? Hey, everybody. So glad you're here. If you're here, pop in and say hello so I'll know you're here. Nita Brown and I founded the Christian Quilt Guild in 17. So, gosh, this year it'll be 4 years. Wow. Time flies. And one of the things we do is we make the only thing we do is we make donation quilts. Well, we have fun. We do a lot of that. But we make quilts to donate to different groups, like Salvation Army, Angel Tree for the Children, or veterans, wounded warriors, things like that. And there's a group, a ministry we've adopted, sort of, that some of us are making quilts for, that is called And Then There Were None. And so we often make quilts for them for their retreats. And about 8 women will go on a retreat at a time, and they do it a couple times a year. So we make throws for these women that go to this retreat. It's a healing ministry sort of thing for women who are getting out of the abortion industry. So they've left the industry, and that's a very hard time generally because because they're dealing with what all they witnessed and saw and that sort of thing. So it's a ministry to help them. And we get a lot of donation fabric, our organization does. And so to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I made this little quilt top right here. And I didn't even plan on dressing like it, but using this is a Tula Pink, quilt shop here in town. Crafts and Quilting donated some fabric, and this was one of the fabrics that they donated. It's not laying flat for a couple of reasons. It would if it was the only thing on my wall, but I've got it kind of stacked, so it's going to be a little bit wavy. But this is using just the big, I've got this upside down, like here, so you can see it. It's using this tool on a 10-inch square. So I took yardage, and I just did 10 inches with the fabric and then cut 10-inch blocks. The other way it works is you can use a pre-cut, of course, a layer cake type of thing. Hey, Wendy. Hey, Linda. Hey, Mike. We're glad you're here. We are so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. So this quilt is a 10-inch. This is a block. Let's see if I can show you the block. You see it? There's the block. So it's real easy. You take a 10-inch piece of fabric. You draw this on the fabric. You cut out the middle. You fold it back. I'll show you here in a few minutes. And you make blocks. And on this one, I just made 16 blocks. This didn't take me very long at all. I mean, it was super, super quick. Once I cut the hole out, then I have to find fabric to bring in from behind. And the green and the blue, I went to, I keep my batiks, which I don't buy a lot of batiks, because I dye fabric in the summer. And so I went to my batik bin and had Doug pull it out for me. And these are 2 of the fabrics that I personally dyed, I don't know, this summer or last summer. Probably last summer, I think. I don't remember. But these are my hand-dyed fabrics that blended really well. And so I did 16 blocks, and then this little 2-inch border, I cut it at 2.5. And then this is a 9-inch border to make it big enough. So it's like, I think it is right at 60 by 60. It might be 58 by 58, something like that. So it's perfect for a gift, for a throw, for somebody just to, hey, Linda, and hey, Beth, we're so glad you're here. Oh, look, y'all, Beth says that she created her first Dresden picture window quilt. That's awesome. So this new tool does this shape, okay? So this is a quick, this was an afternoon, maybe a day to make this top. Now I'm ready to quilt it, and then it will go in the donation pile of, for that group that I'm going to give to it's young women that are getting out of the industry. So that's one of the quilts. Another one of the quilts is right here. You might need to back up the camera to see it. Okay, so here's another one. I've shown y'all this before in previous episodes. Now what I did on this one is it's that same tool, right? I cut out the hole, the shape of the football out of the blue. Here's the block. And then I filled it with fabric that I had sewn these strips together, stitched it down, top stitch, and then I just put little corners, snowballed the corners. So this is another it's the same basic quilt as this. However, the background fabric is different, and I put the triangles, I snowballed the corners. That's what we call snowballing. Okay. You want to come take this for me? Okay. So now, this one, I've got layers, so that's why it's wrinkly. That's okay. It worked there. You didn't have to. Okay, isn't this beautiful? I love this. I love this quilt. This is Monique Jacobs fabric, and it is I just went blank. Oh, Amore is the line. And what I did on this one was I took 10-inch blocks. See that? I cut this shape out. I filled it with this beautiful floral. And then, after that was stitched in, I laid this shape on top of the floral and cut out the center of the floral and backfilled it and stitched that down. So it's the 2 layers of fabric, which was the whole thing for the whole reason for the window within a window. So it has the 2 windows in it. Then I just snowballed the corners. So do y'all know how to make a snowball? To make a snowball, to snowball a corner, Linda, my tool is available right now. Thanks for asking. Okay, here's your background fabric. You lay right sides together. You stitch across. You fold this back, and then you've snowballed the corner. It's that easy. It's just super, super fast and easy. So, it's ready. So, I should say that. Thank you, Linda, for reminding me. If you are interested in a tool tonight, just write in the comments, send me one. Then I will message you, ask your email, and then send you an invoice via PayPal. So this is the same quilt that I had the blue, the teal, and the green, the Tula Pink fabric. This is the same layout exactly, except on that other one I didn't snowball. It's this one too. Look, it's the same layout. Can you see that? Same exact layout. It's just so different in different colors, and that's what's fascinating. Now, this one I didn't do the smaller orange peel, and this one I did, so that gives it that dimension. The only thing I did differently, I did it on the blue one and this one, is let me tell you about my borders. What I did was I took 10 inches by 5 inches. My blocks originally are 10 by 10, right? So half that width is what I chose. And then if you can see this, this is my border piece. See that? One corner was snowballed. So when I snowballed like this corner, and half of them I snowballed on the bottom right, and half of them I snowballed on the bottom left. And that's what makes these secondary designs out here. It almost looks like flying geese sometimes when I glance up and I just look at it real quick. I kind of see and it gives this sort of optical illusion. Hey, Vicki, glad you're here. It sort of gives this layout gives that optical illusion of, like a ball in the middle kind of coming out. But it's not. It's just the way it's laid out. So anyway, this tool, and I did the border all the way around. So that's, how many is that? So I've shown you the blue one, or the tulip pink one, and then the, hey Vicki, I just told everybody that Crafts and Quilting had donated that tulip pink fabric. So this one, and then the tulip pink fabric, and then this quilt, I will be doing a demo video for Quilt Market, and that will be published by E.E. Shank. I think it's in March. So we're using this quilt. So this is just a top. I haven't even gotten to, it's not finished, but I'm showing y'all secrets. Okay, let me think. What's next? Let me stop for a second. Let me see what's next. Okay, red and white. Last week I showed you, let me grab it. Last week I showed you this little top. I've been making a lot of tops so I would have samples, and now I need to quilt them. Okay, this is only 51 by 51, and I've decided that I'm going to add some more borders. I'm going to flip this up and over. Okay, y'all, Doug thought this was brown. It's really dark reds, but it is using the tool also. And if you come closer, I'm going to work pointing this tool, or this block is the one I'm going to be talking about. Do you see how these are this size? You see that? So what I did was I took a 10-inch square. I know y'all are going to think I'm nuts, but I did it. I folded it in half. This way, lengthwise, and then folded it again, and I ironed this really good so I'd have a good crisp line. And then I opened it up, and I folded it this way and this way, so these folds, and I used those lines as my marker. And then I laid my tool down. Well, I did a 1-inch square in the center, and I laid my tool down on the line pointing to the corner and drew around it. That's exactly how I did that. It was so quick and so simple to do. Then I cut out, I'll show you this one. You see how it's cut out? And when I say I cut it out, I did. I cut it out, and then you see how I folded it back, folded the pieces back? Well, the way that's staying down is because I glued it. You know, I used just a touch of that. You can use any fabric glue you like. I happen to have a carload of Elmer's disappearing school glue, so I used that. I iron it into place, and now, can they see this? Yeah, okay. So now I have to fill this. So I can take a 10-inch square if I want all of them to be the same. Look at that. Then I would go to the sewing machine and stitch down all the way around all of these little leaves. If I wanted it to be scrappy, let me lay this like this so you can see. I showed you some of this last week, but I'll show you again. See, you can do it that way. So once you have them where you want it, you can make it scrappy, you can make it however you want it in the background, and then you just top stitch around. And if you look really closely on here, you will, I don't even know if you can see it. Probably not, but I used dark thread that matched this fabric. So it just blends right in. And yes, you can see it if you get super close and are, and inspect it very, very closely. So yeah, I always just top stitch it. Real quick and real simple. Hey Nita, glad you're here. So glad you're here. I mentioned you a minute ago about the Christian Quilt Go. Okay, so if you'll notice on this one, this was a layer cake that I bought, and I used 2 background fabrics. Do you see that? Not all my background, I just used 2 though. I alternated. So I used a white with a little dot on it. It's really an off-white, and then a white on white right here. So I used different ones. So there you go. So that one's done. And I'm going to pull it up, Doug. And so here we go. Now, and I'm not through with this one either. I mean, I have 4,700 projects in works. But I was thinking the other day when I saw it hanging, I'm wondering if I couldn't just do a hole right there. What do y'all think? Just put another white one right here in the corner. Why not? It's big enough. This will work on a 5-inch square charm pack size. So anything that's 5 inches, of course it has to go diagonally, but that's okay. See, I could do this right here in the corner. So I've got some more work to do, and then I need another border or 2. So I'm going to keep working on this. This is how I create. I don't use patterns. You can ask anybody if I see a pattern. Oh, I'll give you an example. And this might be something y'all are interested in. The quiltmuseum.org, which is the National Quilt Museum, has a block of the month club, and it is free for everybody. And this month, the block and the instructions, this is the block, okay? So I printed it out. Now this is what the cover looks like. It was supposed to be in color, but it used all my ink, and this is all the ink I had left by the end of it. The first month, the instructions for that one block was 20 pages long. I don't even know what to say, except if one block instructions are 20 pages long, I'm not sure I want to play. I'm sorry, y'all. Do y'all think that's crazy? 20 pages to get one block made. I was like, oh my word. I don't mean to be ugly, but dang, that's a lot of instructions. 20 pages for one block. Oh my goodness. Well, they just had a lot to say. And it is curved piecing, the way they tell you to do it. But so here's, I'm sorry, but I just think it's hilarious. Okay. On some page, let me see, I can tell you, page 10, it has this instruction. And here's what I'm thinking, y'all. If I could do, so I've kind of challenged myself. I think I'll make this block maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I can do it tomorrow. I'm thinking that whatever size this is, and somewhere in there it's going to tell me, I could make a circle and do a reverse applique. Could I not? And do this and have it done, and it wouldn't take 20 pages. But I'm just telling y'all, I keep an eye out on these things, and when I see something interesting, I'll share that with you. It's a cool looking block. If you'll go to Facebook, the National Quilt Museum has a Facebook page, and then they've got a link, and then they've got all the stuff is on Facebook. So it's good. It's just, whew. So I'm going to try it. So if y'all try this, let me know, and we'll compare blocks next week. Okay. I'm so sorry, but gosh. Honey, there is against that window is a quilt block that looks like this. I need. So, remember on the large tool, you can do it with the inner window or without the inner window. And here's the comparison. Here's an unfinished little test. See, there's the inner window. And this one does not have an inner window. So it's two different ways you can do the same thing. So if anybody in the crowd is ever interested in pattern testing, I'm looking for pattern testers. When I write a pattern, I make it myself to design it. And then I have to go back and remake it and write down all the instructions because the first time you don't write instructions because you're figuring it out. You take notes, and then after that, I will, Connie, I'll put a picture of it up. But if anybody ever wants to be a pattern tester, the way that would work is you would just let me know, and then we would work it out. There's usually a time frame, and there's a free pattern, and just, I'll make sure you have the tool and everything like that. Okay, so that's the next thing. Okay, let me see what else I have for you tonight. It's going to be, I have decided that I'm not required to go an hour. Okay. I think, here it is. So, y'all know I'm into vintage quilting. I mean, I love vintage linens. I love vintage anything at all. I love it. I love that the women, my grandmother, not my mother, but my grandmother and my great-grandmother and all of them loved to work with a needle and thread, and they did that a lot. I should get it out. I should show y'all the quilt I have from 1887. That is a crazy quilt that my great-grandmother made. And when she was like 16 years old. But I love that they embellished with their hands. I'm just so taken by that. So whenever I see a vintage quilt, top, or whatever, I will take them and then put blocks together or build it in some way. I want to show y'all this. This was online. This was a quilt top, a vintage quilt top that I saw that somebody had rescued, and they were about to quilt it. And the question was, has anybody ever seen, oh good, Catherine wants to test. And Vicki will test, yay, and Kathy is here. Hey Kathy, do y'all see that picture? Okay, so this picture, and the question the woman had was, what is the name of this block, or this quilt pattern? And then she realized she had these two turned the wrong direction, but you get the picture, right? Well, there was a big discussion about it, and when I saw it, you know what I thought? Oh my word, that's my tool. So I got all excited because I love making old things new and using our modern tools to be able to do it easier. Now let me just point out a couple of things. What they did here is they cut the shape that is to this side of that orange peel. See that orange peel right there? That's the shape they cut. And then they did curved piecing on either side. And then they put a block in the corner. And it was very intricate, and there's not a ton of these quilts out there because it was difficult. It was not a beginner quilt, and it wasn't very fast. Although it's lovely. But they called it a true lover's knot. So after some extensive research and me being on the thread and all that, and figured out what it was, I designed in black and white, because when I'm designing, when I'm trying to get the pattern down, I'm seeing it in black and white before I start putting color to it. And this is what I was trying to figure out, the fastest and easiest way to design. You see that? Ooh, Linda, you'll pattern test for me too? That's awesome. Okay, y'all see this? Isn't that neat? So this is a 2-color, whereas this one was scrappy, right?
That's with your tool.
This one, well, I was trying to get the design down. Yeah. And then I was trying to figure out how to do it with my tool. So I further defined what I could do with my tool and putting this pattern together. And so when I do it, see, I design the blocks and figure out how big everything has to be and what the measurements are and all that. Then I try to build it. And y'all, I almost failed geometry. I got it now. But I almost failed geometry. Okay, so having said all of that, I did my first 2. Came out looking like this. And I was just going to do a 2 fabric quilt. Actually, what I was doing is I was using some scraps. And so I was just doing 2 fabrics. But I had a little bit of these 2 fabrics. And I thought, well, I'll just use those up, because that's why my house has so many UFOs. But can you imagine another dark one here and another light one here, and how cool this quilt would be? So I don't have enough fabric to make a whole quilt out of these 2 fabrics, but I think that would be stunning. And it would be, so I'm really motivated to find some blacks and some other color to do with. I just think that's a cool look. And so the block is called True Lovers. But let me show you how I did it. Okay. Can you see it? Can you see it? Is it all showing?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, do y'all like that? So this is my first run through. So what I decided after making the designs and doing all this, I decided that instead of doing exactly these dimensions, that I wanted to use pre-cuts. I want to design this so that if you want to use a jelly roll and a charm pack, that you can make this. So it's just 16 blocks. I'm not through. I bought a jelly roll and a charm pack. These are look at this. Isn't that fun? So see, I love brights, and I just think that's cool. So these are the strips that I have not used. And here's the charm pack, the matching charm pack that this is what I have left over so far. So let me see if I can get, what?
Trish just came in.
Trish, hey friend. Okay, so I don't know how to, okay. This, I'm trying to match, and it's not coming together very easy. Here, this, let me just show y'all how quick and easy this was. You see this little square? all I did is I took this little square, and again, y'all, to place this on here corner to corner is real simple. What I do is I iron this in, or you can finger press, but I prefer to iron. Press that open, and that gives me a straight line. I mean, press it, and then when I open it, I have a straight line. And then I have the exact distance from each corner. I have a little thing in the pattern that would go. You'll trace around this. You'll remove it. You'll cut the hole. You'll get your white.
Snip, snip, snip.
What?
Snip, snip, snip.
Oh, yeah. When you go around the curves, you have to snip it to open it up. That creates this one. And then the jelly roll. I have in the pattern I'm writing, I'm just doing. You make strips, 5-inch strips to put on each side. And then you'll do this, and in this corner you'll have white. A white block on this strip, right? You'll do it like this with a white block. That's all there is to it. It is framing a 5-inch charm piece, 5-inch block. It's just framing it with match. So look, here's the cutout. I used just white on white, just what I had. Here's my, this is a strip. No, wait, I'm sorry. This is a strip, and this is a strip with a corner of white. This is the 5-inch. So anyway, when I get this written, this is the pattern. Yeah, it's super easy, Vicki. It is so super easy. So it doesn't take any time at all to cut the hole in the fabric. It doesn't take any time at all. And then fill it, you know, put the white behind it, and then go to your machine and top stitch around it. Super quick. And then 5-inch strip, 5-inch strip. Now this is done. And then this one and this one. And look at this pattern. Is that not easy? So in the olden days, they cut this shape. So you had to be perfect with your cutting. And remember, they used scissors too, right? So you had to do that. And then you had to attach this, and it was a Y seam. Or a, yeah. And then this was sewn curved first. So it was a lot more, it was way more intermediate than this. This is like quick and simple. So I've remade the true lover's knot into a pattern. And so that's the one I'll be asking people to test for me, because that'll be a fun one. I'm going to go ahead. This is not the whole top. Y'all know that, right? Y'all already know that. But it's a good start. It's colorful. It's fun. I think it would be very dramatic in black and white, or in blue and white, or in, I don't know, just any two color quilts are always fun. So, it's just an interesting thing. So this is, you can get all these ideas that I've shown you tonight using this tool. And it works just exactly like every other tool I've ever invented. It's all about reverse applique. Okay, so that is it. Oh, and remember, if you want it, you just say, I want it, and I'll invoice you. And then remember that if you want it, the instructions are on the back. And I'm going to do a tutorial that is just how to do this block only. It's just instructions to make this block. And I'll be showing how to cut the big one. And the little one, and then I'll be showing how to make one of these, like, you know, just in the 5-inch charm, because I don't have just one of those. Then you trim it up and you put it together. It's all good. If you want one, oh, let me tell you the price. It's the same exact price as the picture window reverse applique Dresden tool. It's $44. I will invoice you. I will have to charge tax and shipping, so whatever that is. And anything else? Just put in the comments if you want it, and we will sure My shipping department will get that out to you just as quick as they can. It's a he. He's good. He's good about all that. I take care of that front stuff and I hand it to him and say, "Here's the list. Here's what's going out." Okay, so that's gonna be the end of what I'm gonna show you. I'm looking around to make sure look. When I trimmed up these blocks back here, this is the amount of waste I had. Of course, now I did have a little bit of the of the jelly roll, like on the dark green one. This one, I did have this much of the jelly roll, but y'all will see that again probably in a border. I'm thinking about what kind of borders I want to do around this. So I have this much left. It's not enough to make a second block. That's the thing. So I have to kind of figure out what I'm going to do. But I'll keep you posted. But when I trim my blocks, and I know I need to throw this away, but I love that. This is one of my favorite things to look at is these little leftovers. It's just fun to me. It's just part of what we do. Okay, so thank you for being here. The next, and no Y seams at all. That's right. So Vicki said behind me looks like 10-inch squares. They ended up being 9. They ended up being 9-inch because this was 5 and then 2.5 strips. So it ended up being 2. Excuse me. 2 and 2 and 4.5. Anyway, the block ended up being 9 inches. But it looks like a 10-inch. Okay, so I've started a new thing last week, a new feature. And I'm just called to do this. And it has to do with I'm a woman of faith. And I say that every week. And every week I pray for this group, whoever's watching and whoever shows up. Just know that you are prayed over, that the peace and blessings I ask that peace and blessings are bestowed upon you. And at this point of the night, from now on, about this time, if not earlier, it flexes. I'm going to read you one of the writings that I wrote. And today, the one I'm going to tell you a story about is called Rock Candy. And I published it. If anybody is interested in seeing all these, I'm sorry. It's out on Facebook, and the group is called We Are Called to Pray. So I'm going to read you a little devotion I wrote. And if this is not your gig or not something you're interested in, I understand. You are welcome to stay or leave. Do whatever's good for you. So this one is called Rock Candy. So here's what I wrote. I have told you before of our family's summer vacations to Colorado and our adventures. This particular morning, which was the morning of December the 29th, the Lord reminded me of another incident on one of those trips. Mom and Dad would fish for trout in the stream that ran near the cabin near Wolf Creek Pass in Colorado. One day, Janet and I decided that we were going to bake a cake. I was 12, so we'd been cooking alone for years and thought nothing of it, actually. We pulled out the chocolate cake mix from the cabinet and whipped it up just like a boss. And when the cake was ready, we put it out on the table to cool. That didn't take very long because it was July, but it was Colorado, and we were at 10,850 feet altitude. So the yummy chocolate cake smelled so delicious, and we were ready to make the frosting. Well, this makes me laugh. The instructions were printed on the back of the frosting box. Do y'all remember? That was long before you could buy whipped icing in a tub. You had to make your own icing. So as instructed, we started boiling the water, and then we poured the mix into the boiling water, and we stirred and we stirred. It boiled, and we kept stirring. But something wasn't right. We took it off the stove, and we poured it onto a cookie sheet because we knew something was wrong, and we didn't want to mess up the cake. And as soon as it spread to the size of probably a 9-inch dinner plate, the icing was about 1 inch thick, and it had already cooled, and it was as hard as granite. It was a hard blob. So Janet and I, who are 16 months apart, looked at each other, still makes me laugh, looked at each other in astonishment and just busted out laughing. I mean, we were rolling in the floor. What in the world had happened to our soft, fluffy chocolate frosting? We had unintentionally made chocolate rock candy. Nothing would penetrate it, not a knife or a spoon. We laughed and giggled about talking about putting that heavy thing on the cake and how it would smash it down to be a pancake. And we had no backup. We were in a cabin. We were camping. And we only had one box of frosting. So, of course, that sent us into more and more rounds of hysterical laughter. What are you going to do? About that time, Cliff, our brother, I was 12, he was 9, wandered in to see what we were doing. And being all boy, he said, "Well, how does it taste?" And we didn't know. So we looked at each other and we picked up the pan and we took it out onto the porch. I don't know where we found it, but we found a hammer and we beat that frosting into, because it was cold by now, into shards of chocolate rock candy. I kid you not. I mean, it splintered. It was hilarious. Cliff, being the boy, said, "I'll taste it." And he popped it right in his mouth, and it was delicious. So we left the icing on the cookie sheet, and we went into the kitchen to clean up the mess. And I don't know, I can't remember if the pan that we stirred it in ever got clean. I kind of think it didn't. But it belonged to the cabin, and I know it soaked for at least 4 days. Oh, it was just a terrible thing. Well, later that afternoon, Mom and Dad had been out fishing. Y'all, they weren't half a mile from the house, but they were out fishing in the middle of the stream. And they came in, and Cliff was sucking on some of that chocolate candy. And, and being just a boy, he would suck on it, and then he would spit. And he would spit on the ground, not in the house, of course, but he would spit on the ground. I don't know what it is about boys and spitting, but Dad saw him spit that dark chocolate, and Dad thought he was chewing tobacco, which he wasn't anywhere near that. So Dad got really mad. Oh my word. "Dad, are you online?" And he got so furious at Cliff. And of course we stepped in and came to Cliff's rescue and explained what had happened. Poor Cliff. But for dinner that night we had chocolate cake with no icing. But we had rock candy. And in retrospect, we know what we did. We overcooked the mix, right? Our mistake was adding the mix to the boiling water while it was on the stove and then leaving it on the stove. We should have taken it off and just stirred it and whatever. But we didn't know. And for years we thought it was an altitude issue. It wasn't. It was an intellect issue, but whatever. So this morning the Lord brought that story to mind because so often we don't remove ourselves from the stove. We get in hot water and we stay there, only to get rock hard and solid in our views. If we want to get frosting, we have to follow the recipe, and we have to remove the ingredients from the flames and the heat while preparing it. So if we want to live a life of godliness, we must follow the recipe given to us in the Bible and remove ourselves from the flames of temptation and the heat of emotions. We must be ever so mindful of our choices and ever so mindful of the will of God. As we pray this week, I'm sure we are all praying for a better future. As the Lord moves during these days, think about all the choices in front of you. Do you want to be frosting, or do you want to be rock candy? Do you want to be soft and sweet and pliable in the hands of the Lord, or do you want to be hard and brittle? Are your opinions concrete, hard, or open to new information? And most importantly, are you willing? Are you willing to listen? So to close, here's the scripture. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, and with thanksgiving, present your request to God. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Linda, every time I think about that story, I giggle because we were kids being kids doing what we did. Oh, it was so funny. I mean, the whole family still talks about it. When we talk about it, we all laugh. So bless you all. Bless each one of you. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a marvelous week as well as the rest of today. And we will be back next week, and I'll probably do some more demos on how to get this process done. And then I'll show you the updates on progress we've made during the week. Y'all have a blessed week. Talk to you later. Bye.